So Calvin, VP of Ops, what, 20%, 30% pay increase from the prior role? Something along those lines, if not even.
Yeah, more like 30-35%.
Hey, 5% pay increase. So we gotta take a moment and say congratulations. Beyond congratulations to you.
Seriously, 30% increase in this market, you earned it. That takes top tier talent to make that happen. So seriously, congratulations. You've been a really huge leader in our community. I really appreciate you always speaking up on those calls.
Well, thank you. The process initially, it took me a little bit of time to get my head wrapped around it. Went about it my way, thinking that, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And I'll never forget, Olivia, you telling me, "You're thinking too much. Just dive in and then just keep things moving." And it wasn't until I actually started to do that, when I started to just not focus on the outcomes, not hold on to the fact that I've just submitted resumes and not, however many outreaches I had, not holding on to that, just like create this factory output kind of mindset where I do it and I let it go. Which when you talk about mindset has helped me out tremendously because even though I do think a lot and analyze a lot, that has been helpful in my career. But in this case right here, it was like just not holding on to things that you shouldn't hold on to and moving forward was one of my biggest takeaways from this because I'm a headstrong guy. I'm always believing in myself, right? I'm always believing in what I've done and how I do it. And I don't think that's a wrong thing, but I do firmly believe that I have learned that when you begin to let things go in this process, not hold on to things that you shouldn't, and being able to do things that are only going to enhance my efforts, I think this program helped all of that exponentially because I couldn't even imagine what I'd be doing right now, how I'd be taking a look at things right now, had I not joined Career Evolved. So it was amazing. And I took every challenge, I took everything that you guys said, and I meshed it with what I believe and what I know, um, and followed the outcome as much as possible. And here we are. This wasn't just one offer. There were two offers. I had a third offer, but I couldn't accept it because of some constraints. But right, this was a best case scenario. And talking to Ryan on almost a weekly basis, but certainly during this entire campaign, leading up to each interview, doing my interview prep, just figuring out the process, making certain that I just didn't want to make any major catastrophic mistakes and keeping my mind focused on the outcome and following the process is what it really kept me, focused, and it really helped me to get through the process, I believe. So I'm grateful.
And that's fantastic. So, Calvin, just a couple things to dive into because I got a front row seat. Like we said on the coaching call yesterday, the group one, we got a front row seat. There's a lot of paths that this can go. This entire offer came from a relationship. There's no recruiters. There's no posted job offers. There was nothing. It was literally through phone calls. And we always say that, hey, one phone call can change your life. In this case specifically, maybe two at most, but that the notion of a phone call can change your life literally happened to you. It was a connection of a career promoter to the hiring manager. And it was as simple as one, two, three. Not because the process is simple, but because value and resonance that is relevant to hiring managers can be simple when it's positioned correctly. And that's not to mislead anybody else, but it can be one phone call away. So, a couple things to unpack for yourself. I'd like to talk about the fact that there are so many directions you can go. And when you don't know which one to tackle, it's not that you put your energy at 100% into all of them without missing the mark on each one as well. Because three potential offers, that's a lot of prep work. And they can't over, they're all different types of positions, different types of companies. How did you stay organized and how did you stay mentally strong as an ox going through that?
So the mental piece of it was really all about my mindset shift. And it really just goes back to the fact that I was able to disconnect myself from any of these outcomes. And it didn't matter if I got an offer or if I had the job or, and obviously I wanted the position if I applied for it, but I did not tie my confidence. I did not tie my worth. I did not connect my future to the outcomes, right? It was, if I get it, great. If I get a second interview, great. If I get a final interview, great. If I get a return phone call, great. If I don't, it's okay. Because I never really stopped to look back at one particular situation and decided that, oh, that's the one I need. Even this one right here, honestly, the position that I decided to take, you said one phone call, and it could absolutely happen. 2 weeks ago, though, I would never have thought I'd be here right now, right? And with this particular opportunity, because I didn't know it was available. And this happened to be someone that I worked with. We both had businesses when I met him 15 years ago, right? We both had businesses and we worked hard out, and he know how passionate I am, how strong I am. And that's why he picked the phone up and called me. He said, man, I'm gonna be honest, I've been looking for you. And that's what, I mean, all of it makes me feel great to be acknowledged, to know that someone else was paying attention, to know that someone else actually wants my skill set, knows my skill set versus getting hired. It doesn't matter the firm, doesn't matter how small or how big they are. You want to walk in there, I know I would, and feel valued, right? And that's important for me. So to have this happen the way that it happened, it was outstanding. And he called me yesterday, and he calls me regularly now. We've gotten offered the actual letters coming tomorrow, and we're looking at a start date of early next week. And he asked me, he said, when do you want to start? I said, well, my sleeves are up. I'm ready. So that's give me a couple of days to tie up some loose ends over here. And that's how that, kind of went. And he reassures me every time that we talk. If this isn't what you want, let me know. We'll make the change. I'm waiting on you to come in here because we're going to make some changes together. We're going to make this grow, and you're going to help me to free up his schedule a little bit. And that's what's important to him right now, trusting someone like me in the role like this to help make certain that his business continues to grow. And that's important to me because really he's putting a lot in my hands, right? And he knows that I'm capable of it. And I know that I'm capable of doing exactly what he needs. I'm going to excel what he believes is possible for me. So, and the company for that matter. And that's what's, motivates me. That's what has me really going. And the fact that I know him really well makes this all the much better for me. So I can't wait. Like, I'm excited about it.
That is so awesome. I mean, kind of going back to that piece again, people hear multiple offers. I want that. And they kind of devalue the effort that it took you to be able to say, I got multiple offers. It's like that journey was hard work. And I remember when you finished with the Chicago housing, that interview, awesome, went well. I think I'm going to get an offer. And then hold up, got a phone call. And it was like we were kind of just going through trying to manage the whole thing together. But I think one thing that you do well, there's a lot of things you do well, but I think one thing that you specifically did well that was very, very evident is the fact that the more you got through the process, you were so in tune. You knew when I'm going to the next round, I'm getting an offer, or this isn't the right fit. You were so in tune with the outcome because you read and resonated with those leaders, and you were able to determine this is not a right fit. They're not going to be calling me again, and that's okay. I'm moving on. And then I remember for this, before the offer accepted, the other company said they're going to give me an offer. I was like, really? They gave you an offer? You're like, oh, they're going to give me an offer. And you were right. They did, because your resonance and EQ was so strong when you were clicking. You knew the fact that that all stemmed from how you showed up. That stemmed from the intentional preparation and the homework. That stems from the mindset, making sure you are serving them, not just serving, but serving them. You did all of it so well that I would love to ask you what, I guess, maybe surprised you that you took away from Career Evolved, and where do you feel like that came from to be able to get multiple offers, knowing how you pivoted for them, they didn't pivot for you to seal the deal. So walk us through how Career Evolved played an impact for you on that.
Career Evolve was, I don't know that I would be here right now without the mindset shift, without the mindset work, and without the coaching, to be quite honest about it. Like I said before, I'm a confident guy and I have a strong belief in my abilities, but I also recognize what I don't know. And so with you particularly being there to help me make sense of what I thought made sense and to make some adjustments along the way was vitally important. And the career evolved community was also very important. It helped me to hear from and listen and see what others have done. And I use this analogy based on my own history and what I could recall in my lifetime was close to this feeling that I had when I first started here. And that was when I joined the military. And I remember arriving to boot camp. And as we were arriving, knowing that we're in for probably the most traumatic experience of my life at 18, um, and seeing other people leave, I will never forget how I felt as I was going in there, watching them leave. I wanted to be on the bus that they were on so bad that I just, but I knew that I had a lot of hard work in front of me and mentally I prepared myself to go through it. That's what Career Evolve was for me. Even now, even the transference from being a participant in the community to actually having achieved the desired outcome, which is that position that I want. When I tie this back to my experience with our boot camp, it's the same thing. Going in, I was wanting to be out so bad. I don't want to say I was afraid or fearful, even though, I had fear in my heart. I just always believed that I was going to complete it at a high level. But this is the same thing for me. Coming in, I felt that same way that I did at 18 going into the military. Coming out of it, I feel the same way. I feel accomplished. I feel like I did this with a tremendous amount of support. I feel that I learned a lot about myself and how to process some of these challenges. So Career Evolve played a major part in this happening. And I know that, the position I ended up with is one where it was built on relationship. But even in that meeting, even in that first meeting that I had with him, I used the doctor method on him to find out where he was and what it was that he was actually in need of and what he wanted from me. Where did he see me position in terms of positioning within the company and being able to help? That's how we got to this VP of Ops. He realized, he said, "Hey man, look, I need someone that I can trust, right hand." He went through that whole spiel about what he felt and why he felt it. This guy's the CEO of the company. He could have named any number of positions that he thought I might have fit in, but he felt and feels very confident in my skill set. And this is what it is because I believe we were able to get there because I used the doctor's position or strategy to make certain that I had a full understanding and that we touched bases on exactly what he wanted and needed. And I think it tied him back to that thought, which led us to where we are right now. So for me, Career Evolve played a major part in this. Helped me to get focused and remain focused. It helped me to understand my own value and my resolve at every step, even in the prior interviews that I had. The more interviews I had, the stronger I felt, the more confident I felt. So it was great for me. I wouldn't have gotten here without it.
Calvin, one thing that you said that I think is so interesting because when we talk to other executives, ones maybe potentially wanting to learn more about what Career Evolve does, we'll hear a lot by saying, if you can just help me get to decision makers, I know I can seal the deal. And then we'll always ask, okay, help it get to decision maker. Then what do you do? You make it sound like it's so easy to seal the deal in today's world. No, it's really not. Even when it's a pure value exchange, there's more than value. Value subjective. There's so much that takes place in an org where structure matters, alignment matters, how they see your value, because we always think our value is greater than what it is. Our value is only as good as what someone's willing to pay for it. There's so much elements that exist, and I think you did such a good job coming in with such a willingness to learn. And then what you also did too, Cal, is you really bonded with other leaders in the community, just with Sean and a few others. Like you were really connected, which made other people feel comfortable connecting too. And that plays a huge aspect in the mindset part because community with other leaders strengthens your own identity. It validates it. It positions yourself as a leader, and you're one of the staples in my opinion. Olivia, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're one of the staples, Calvin. I mean, like
You're our poster child, Calvin.
Yeah, like you're a staple. So we can say so many times congratulations, which is so true. But I think we also need to say thank you so much for what you gave to people too.
Thank you how you
Uh,
start.
yeah, like your influence is just huge, man, all the way through. So I could not be more proud of you, Cal. That's all I could say. I could not be more
Well,
proud of you, and you deserve it 2x.
well, I appreciate you guys more than you know. From the beginning, I knew that I needed this program after I had a conversation with Olivia, and I found a way to get myself into the program. And, at the time, I feel like I was more because I analyze things and because I'm a planner, I like to think things through all the time. I was so focused on how I needed to generate more income in order to make sure that I had things aligned with this. And even though I achieved that, right? I talked to you about this. Even I went ahead and did what I thought was right. I went and got this license to sell insurance and jumped into that. And as soon as I jumped in, I jumped out because I realized seriously, I realize I am wasting time over here. I'm not going to be an insurance salesman. This is not, I was only looking at it to generate what I consider to be income to hold over. And it was more than they wanted way more from me than I was willing to give them. And so I jumped out of that and dove right back in to CE and to the community and to my efforts and doing the things that I knew I needed to be doing. And so that way I wouldn't miss out on it, anything. And once I did that, I really felt it in my soul that by the end of Q1, I'll be working. And I looked up yesterday and I said, oh my God, here we are right where I
Just hit it.
just hit it. And so I thought this is a great thing. So there was so many things for me that came out of this experience. And man, I'd tell anybody that's really intent upon pivoting from whatever position they had into a new position or into a new role that you're not going to do any better than CE, in my opinion. And I don't know all the other organizations that are out there, but I do know that there are many different approaches to helping people find work. And I know that some of them are scams, pardon my French, but they don't really deliver on anything. They give you limited amount of effort. I just, for me, the value of the community, the amount of input that I got far exceeded what I expected, both from the community and from you guys. I think that your consistency, Olivia, your consistency and your messaging, I resonated with that because I listen to people when they tell me something. And I listen to see whether or not they're going to tell me something different this time than they told me the last 2 or 3 times, and that's going to tell me a lot about how this is going to go, whether or not I can rely upon what you're saying. And every single message, every single time that you delivered your message to us, it is consistent. You keep driving home the process. You keep drilling in people's head what they need to do and how they need to do it. And, so trusting the process as an executive, it is something that we have to learn, right? In many cases to deal with because we're not used to having other people tell us what the process is. We're used to setting the pace or setting the process, if you will. But your consistency and your strength and and I'm not saying this for any reason other than this is how I actually feel. The value that you brought to me and my efforts and my journey were invaluable. I don't know that I would have gotten this from anywhere else. So for me, Career Evolve was the only place that I should have been in on this journey to get to where I've been trying to go. So I'm grateful.
Thank you so much for saying that. And, there's a lot of people that want a quick fix to get that level that you're at. And that's where a lot of people are struggling to evolve. They're looking for the hype and the quick fix. And you were looking for the truth, and the real deal leaders are ready to pay the price, and you paid the price.
Yeah. And, again, I feel blessed to be not only, where I'm at right now with this opportunity, but to have been a part of Career Evolved. All of that I consider to be a part of my journey. I consider it to be a blessing. And I think that everything else that's to come down the road is going to be in that truth. It's going to be in my truth because there were no shortcuts. There were no, everything that I was supposed to do here, I feel that I did it.
It was
And
earned.
even though
Let me just be clear. You earned it. Nothing was given here.
correct. No, absolutely. Nothing was given. I had to follow the process and I had to make sure that I did what was necessary. And in keeping that in mind, the the entire journey from beginning to end even my failed attempts at the insurance thing, I achieved the insurance license. I still have it, but I don't use it. Even that sort of sidestep was beneficial, was necessary, I feel, for me in this journey. I had to realize that you're losing focus. You're losing track of what you should be doing over here in Career Evolve. And that's why I didn't see the value. I didn't feel that there was any value on the insurance side. Not to say that it's meaningless work, because there are a lot of people that are doing that work and doing it great. And there are a lot of people that need insurance. I'm just not one of the people that's going to be delivering it. I never felt that. And so for me, I've always felt that this path is the one I should be on. And here I am. So I'm just grateful. And I told a couple of people in the community I do intend to just keep up with, right? Just on their journey. Like Sean is one of them. Keeping up with Sean. Erica is another one. I misspoke yesterday when I called her Erica Smith, and this Erica Owen, because I never really paid attention to the last name. But
You mean
Owen. I called her yesterday. It was Erin Smith. Today I called her Erica Owen,
Olivia?
which she knows. But I keep in touch with her. And David's another guy that I tend to keep in touch with. And there are a couple of others through this journey that I intend to stay in touch with for no other reason other than the fact that this is a part of our life story right now. So yeah, like my military buddies, no different.
Very cool.
Can't say it better than that, Calvin. That's fantastic, man.
And I do intend to stay in the group. I'll check in periodically, especially if I'm looking for talent. When we start looking for high level talent, and there will come a need for it,